All the banners coming out in patch 2.8 are genuinely great value. The first half features the negative status archetype, while the second half focuses on echo damage. At the end of the day, it really comes down to choosing which units your account needs the most. But if you are still unsure, don't worry, I will help break down the pull priorities for each banner. So let's get started. For the first banner, we are getting a brand new character, Chisa. As I explained in the breakdown video a few days ago, Chisa is a support who can reduce enemy defense against certain attacks, categorized as negative status damage, while also providing team-wide healing. This healing can be triggered through parts of her basic attack sequence and her resonance liberation. On top of that, she also has a shield built into her Vortex circuit, making her a pretty solid sustain option. Even though she is a support, Chisa actually fills a very specific niche and synergizes extremely well with teams built around negative status effects like Spectral Frazzle or Aero Erosion. She can inflict Havoc Bane on enemies, dealing damage over time and reducing their defense by a certain percentage. Her outro skill is also team-wide, meaning the entire party, not just the next Resonator, gets its benefit. When activated, it increases the max stack capacity of all types of negative status by 3 for 15 seconds. And whenever any teammates inflict a negative status or deals damage counted as negative status damage, that hit can ignore 18% of the enemy's defense. This is exactly why Chisa is considered an upgrade over Aero Rover in Cartesia teams, and a strong replacement for Shorekeeper in Zani and Phoebe teams. But her utility does not stop at defense. Chisa also brings great crowd control. She can group enemies using her enhanced resonance skill when entering chainsaw mode, and she can even pull targets from range using a dodge that consumes Blue Forte. Despite being a support, she can still contribute a noticeable amount of damage because some parts of her kit gain increased multipliers during chainsaw mode. Many of her attacks also count as resonance liberation damage, which is something you should consider when optimizing her substats later. So is Chisa worth pulling? If your account has DPS units like Zani or Cartesia, then yes, absolutely. A typical premium Zani team usually runs Phoebe and Shorekeeper, giving Zani huge damage and very comfortable rotations. But with Chisa in the mix, you can free up Shorekeeper for another team, which is great for endgame content. This Zani comp also lacks grouping tools, whereas the Cartesia comp already has Chiakona's Forte. That alone makes Chisa a valuable support option for Zani in Wuthering Waves, for example. What about Cartesia teams? Is Aero Rover worth benching for Chisa? If you compare them, their outro skills are actually similar, but Aero Rover only boosts the max stack of Aero Erosion, while Chisa provides much more flexible utility that will scale well with future characters. And when it comes to raw contribution, Chisa outperforms Aero Rover because she brings more damage to the team overall. And here's something important, several negative status effects have been reworked in the 2.8 beta, which strongly suggests that future patches will introduce more DPS or supports built around this mechanic. That means Chisa is not just an upgrade for Zani or Cartesia, she's also a great long-term support investment. So for this patch, I would say her pull priority range from medium to high. Still on the topic of negative status teams, we are also getting Phoebe's banner this time. It really feels like Kuro Games wants to encourage players to complete their negative status team compositions, just in case you pull Chisa or Zani, but your team are still missing Phoebe. Phoebe is a support character who can also function as a main DPS, thanks to her Spectral Frazzle based kit. She's actually a great long-term investment, especially if your account is lacking Spectra units. You can run her in yellow mode to make her your main DPS, pairing her with Spectral Rover and Shorekeeper. Or you can use her as a support in Zani teams, since she is an excellent Spectral Frazzle applier, which helps maximize Zani's personal damage. Her outro skill also amplifies Frazzle damage and reduces the enemy's Spectral resistance, making her even more valuable. In short, her two modes, Absolution and Confession, give her a lot of flexibility. But do you need Phoebe for your Zani team? Technically, you can still triple star content using Spectral Rover as Zani's support and Shorekeeper as your healer. However, that setup requires more complex mechanics to fully optimize Zani's damage compared to simply using Phoebe as your Frazzle applier. And not every player enjoys complicated rotations, right? That's why I recommend building your Zani teams first before pulling Chisa, meaning it's better to secure Phoebe from her banner if you are missing her. So to conclude, if your account has Zani, Phoebe's pull priority is high, but if you don't have Zani at all, then her pull priority drops to medium. Moving on to phase 2, we will be getting Phrolova's banner. She's a main damage dealer with an off-field playstyle. Unlike most DPS units, Phrolova does not rely on resonance energy to activate her resonance liberation. Instead, she uses 6 melodies. This makes her rotation extremely easy because she simply does not have energy issues at all. As long as you have an on-field character who can repeatedly cast echo skills, her Hecate will continuously strike enemies, dealing large amounts of damage over time. Phrolova also comes with strong self-buffs. She gains additional 120% attack when activating her ultimate, on top of a significant amount of bonus crit damage thanks to her forte and one of her inherent skills. Even though she serves as the team's main DPS, her outro skill can amplify havoc damage and also boost heavy attack damage for the next Resonator. This becomes extremely valuable if your next on-fielder deals havoc damage or relies heavily on heavy attacks as their main damage source. One of the biggest reasons Phrolova is so worth pulling is her ability to deal damage while off the field. This essentially allows her to function as second DPS, which gives her very broad team building flexibility. You can pair her with Cantarela or Rochia, since both can trigger effects that count as echo skill casts, and they also benefit from Phrolova's havoc damage amp through her outro. Yuan also synergizes well with her because his forte can trigger Hecate more frequently, and he gains heavy attack amp for her outro as well. Even DPS units like Galbrena or Augusta can comfortably work with Phrolova as a sub DPS, and their damage increases further thanks to the heavy attack amplification. This alone is a huge selling point and makes Phrolova an incredibly valuable pickup. So is Phrolova worth pulling and investing in? The answer is absolutely yes. In my opinion, Phrolova is currently the strongest Havoc main DPS in the game. She has flexible team options, strong self buffs, high damage output, and she performs extremely well in endgame content like Tower of Adversity and Wuthering Waves. So TLDR, Phrolova is broken. If you don't have her, you should pull her. Ideally along with her complete package, her signature weapon and Cantarela, which will also be featured in Phase 2. For anyone who does not own Phrolova yet, her banner deserves a high pull priority. She's absolutely worth it. Right after talking about Phrolova, we also have the perfect partner to complement her, Cantarela. She mainly serves as a support since her outro provides resonance skill damage amplification to the next Resonator, as well as havoc damage amp. On top of that, she grants healing effects whenever she enters her mirage state. Even though she's designed as a support, Cantarela can also function as a sub DPS, especially if you equip her signature weapon. Another important part of her kit is her coordinated attacks. Every time she uses her resonance liberation, small jellyfish will periodically appear and attack enemies. This coordinated attack can also be triggered through her basic attack while she is in mirage state. Because of this, she has strong synergy with Jinshi, who greatly benefits from any form of coordinated attacks to help fill up her forte gauge faster. Aside from coordinated attacks, Cantarela also has another huge advantage. Many of her skills count as echo skill casts. Her resonance liberation, her mirage state skills, and her enhanced skill from her forte circuit all trigger this effect. This makes her the best support or even the best on-fielder for Phrolova. And this is exactly why both of their banners are featured together in Phase 2. They are designed to complete each other. Overall, she is a very good unit, a healer, a sub DPS, a source of havoc and resonance skill damage amplification, provides coordinated attacks for certain DPS units, and can trigger echo skills repeatedly for others. If you have Jinshi or Carlotta but constantly struggle because they are fighting over Jeji, then pulling Cantarela is absolutely the right call. And if you already own Phrolova but lack Yuan and Cantarela, it's definitely worth setting aside some astride for this banner. If your account matches those scenarios, I would place her pull priority at medium to high. You can consider skipping Cantarela if you don't have Jinshi, who really needs coordinated attacks, or Phrolova, who relies heavily on frequent echo skill activations. The reason why Phase 2 banners have even high overall value compared to Phase 1 is not just because Phrolova and Cantarela are both incredibly strong. It's also because Buling is included as a 4-star unit. You can check out my full Buling kit breakdown video to see everything she can do. But TLDR, she's a sustain unit who offers more than just healing. She provides crowd control through grouping, applies electro flare stacks, gives general damage amplification through her outro skill, and boosts the entire team's resonance skill damage by 30% at RC0 with her ultimate. Getting this resonance skill damage buff is also very similar to how Shorekeeper's ultimate works. You simply need to perform 2 intro skills to get the full effect. And in an era where Tower of Adversity now has 12 total floors, Buling becomes a great comfort pick for players who prefer having reliable sustain on their team. So between the two phases, I would give phase 2 a solid 9 out of 10, while phase 1 sits at around 8 out of 10. But once again, this entire who to pull guide is based on my personal opinion. You are completely free to disagree and feel free to share your own thoughts in the comments. I hope this video helps those of you who are still unsure about which banner to pull. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, share it with any friends who might need it, and I will see you guys again in the next one. Bye bye!